you want to kick it off? You want me to say a couple words first?
You can kick it off. Go ahead.
All right. We will kick it off here. You know, as Rotarians, we serve to make a better future for, and what better way to do that than to make a better future for our children in our community. And as we know, Rotary calls this the Fifth Avenue of Service. So we're pretty excited about that. And our club has had a long history of working with the youth. And Pauline and I met this week, and we were just having just a great time, just remembering how we got started and all the great stuff that's happened at our club. And maybe, Paul, do you want to start with the history of it?
I can start a little bit.
All right.
Back in 05-06, Al and I met to establish an Interact Club. That was our intent. And never did we ever dream that we would succeed like we have with all of our ACT clubs. And I just want to take a moment to introduce my co-presidents, Charlie Ng and Whitney Frazier, and Daphne Giampetro, who's our club secretary. They're joining us here this morning. So maybe this would be a little interesting to you too. So at our very first meeting, we met at 7 a.m. at the high school, and we had 4 people show up, and the next week they didn't. So it was a little daunting for sure, but we managed to pick ourselves back up again. And Interact has been going strong for 16 years. Over that period of time, we've had some wonderful kids doing some great activities. And I want to give credit to the club because we couldn't do this without our club members. Over 20% of our club members have been involved in the ACT clubs at one point or another. And I see many people here who have been advisors to our clubs. And I want to say thank you to you. So Interact got started in that very first year. They participated in the Festival of Trees, and they participated in The Price is Right. So they had a good time, and we were able to continue and go from there. So Al, do you want to talk a little bit about Rotaract?
Yeah, actually, and then our next club was the Rotaract Club, and Clayton King and Kirsten Swan and I, we all kind of got together, and I believe that was in 2007. Paul Mills was the president, and we established the club, and that's been going strong ever since too. Some amazing things that the club has done, including a lot of trips. The kids, a lot of them went to Guatemala with us, so that was pretty exciting to include them in some of our bigger functions that we're doing with safe passage and stuff like that.
So, and I want to say some Interact members also went to Guatemala, and
yes, that's true. Yes,
it changed some of the students' lives. We had one student come back, and her grandfather said it completely changed her worldview. Another student called her mother while she was there and told her mother that she loved her, and her mom said she hadn't heard that in many years.
Yeah, that was very good. Yeah.
So those are really cool things that have happened over the years.
Right. Yeah, then we went, we've been hearing stuff about early ACT clubs, and we really wasn't too sure, but we jumped in with both feet. And I know we were all questioning ourselves. It's like, can we really do this? Can we make it exciting for the kids? And what we realized quickly is that, you know, when we look back at ourselves, when we all growing up, we want to be policemen or firemen or doctors or nurses, all service type of professions. And sure enough, we found out that the young kids were very interested in service at a very early age. And we started out by doing things, just little things like Teacher of the Week, and we made bookcases, and we did a lot of things. But what really took the program off was the Josh the Art of Swim program. And over the years, Pauline and I were trying to figure out how many kids that have gone through that program that have learned water safety. So it's been a real great little thing for our community. And I'm looking at Daphne. I remember Daphne as one of the original members. And I remember her coming every week. I was always excited to see what hat she had on this week, because every week she would wear a different hat. Daphne, did you start when you were in kindergarten?
Oh, I actually started in 3rd grade when I moved.
3rd grade, okay. I know we started at the time, there was some kindergartens too. So it's really great to see that, as we'll hear from them, how these kids grew all the way to the program and been in the program for years and years.
So, and Whit, you've been through the program all these years too as well. Didn't you start with Early Act?
Since the old Mount School was standing.
So we've got, and Daphne and Whit and Charlie are all seniors this year. So
Yeah,
they've come through and that's awesome.
yeah.
Next Act was our next program, and what was touching about Next Act is that we had a young lady, and Al, you can talk a little bit more about this because
There was a young lady, and Paulie and I were racking our brains to remember her last name, and maybe Daphne and Whitney can help us, but her name was Rachel, and she had been in the program since kindergarten for 3 years. And she came up to us, our club, and she said, we really want to continue this at the next level. So we invited her to our club, and some of you may remember she spoke to our club about having another group at the next level. So we basically were motivated and inspired by the 7-year-old to continue our program at the next level. So it was pretty fun to see that we had made impact on the children. Whoops, and that's one of our programs coming up too, Impact.
so,
And then Pauline, I'll let you talk about the next level.
okay.
I know you were very involved with that.
So Impact, we had set the goal to have a program at the middle school. And that was our intention all along. And I had heard that 2 teachers at the middle school wanted to begin a philanthropy program and a philanthropy club. So I approached them and asked if they were interested in having it be a Rotary club. So Denise Mockimer and Maureen Oswald came to one of our meetings. And when they found out that our motto was service above self, they were sold. So they became our middle school program. And we're fortunate enough to have Ann Yorks and Kent Wiles join them as club advisors. And they've been a wonderful addition to our program. They even helped us sell cheese this year. So we are very fortunate, very lucky to have 2 teachers. And this year, not this year, Frank Giampietro later joined us, and that's Daphne's dad, to be one of the club advisors as well. So very lucky to have a program at the middle school, and it's been a successful club. I also want to mention Mount Abram Interact, and that got off the ground primarily because of Marcus and Sue, and I want to thank them. It's been a struggle this year to get Mount Abram going, but it's been a struggle everywhere. And I think our 3 club members that are here will attest to that. And I want to give them credit as well, because we wouldn't have Mount Blue Interact if it wasn't for the stamina and for the interest of these 3 young people. So I want to thank them as well. So Al, do you want to talk about some of the rewards?
Yeah, one of the things Paul and I were talking about the other day is some of the rewards is just in our own club, how it's made us younger and more involved in the community. We were talking about one example of, we think as Rotarians, we know our community pretty well, but there was one activity at the Interact Club level where we found out that through the students that there was a need in the community for a family that was deciding if they should buy prescription drugs for the family or to provide food. It was a real dilemma for them. And so they come up with an activity that we work with them on, that they got gift certificates at Hannaford's for that family. So, the club has made us younger, but more aware of our community that we live in. And things like Christmas tree festival and the potluck dinners. What a joy to be around the kids and their parents during these events. So they've chipped in, as Paul and I were saying, in helping us with like the Price is Right and other things in our community. So it's been a very big plus. And Paul and I were saying we've gotten so much more sometimes than we think we've given the kids, but it's been a great program from top to bottom. And as Douglas will tell you, an envy of our district. For many of the clubs in our district have tried to make a program similar to ours, where it's basically like we used to say 5 to 95, we had Rotarians.
And I think one of the rewards for me was seeing our students grow and change through the years. One of my interactors began as a freshman and he didn't say 2 words that whole year.
Yeah.
And by his senior year, he became president. And he was saying a lot more than 2 words, but it was so much fun to see the evolution and see how much growth occurred with some students. The other thing is we've had some wonderful, wonderful students come through our
Mhm.
programs, and it's always fun to see them fly. So Whit, Charlie, and Daphne, it's going to be fun to see you fly and see where you go.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping Charlie and Whit and Daphne, you might say a little bit about yourselves and what you liked about the ACT clubs and where you're going to be going next year. Charlie, do you want to begin?
Yeah, I can do that. So, hi everyone. My name is Charlie Eng. I've been doing Interact Club for 4 years. I've only done it in high school, and this year I am one of the co-presidents with Whitney. One of my favorite events that we did was going to the district conference in Canada a few years ago. It was really cool to see just different Rotary groups from kind of across the country, and it really showed to me that Rotary is a lot bigger than I really expected. It really expands it expands outside of Farmington a lot, which I didn't see a lot before. And then locally, one event that really kind of changed me was the Hannah Weber benefit dinner. She was an elementary school teacher here, and she was involved in an accident. So one of our members brought it up, and we put on a dinner for her to raise money. So that was really powerful to me. And then next year, I'll be going to Brandeis University. I'm going to study health, society, science, and policy, and politics there. Thank you.
Whit, do you want to say something?
Yes. Okay. So like I said, I've been a part of Interact since the amount school was standing. And this year I serve as one of the co-presidents with Charlie. Rotary has been a huge part of growing up. And I always looked forward to window painting as a kid in the Chester Greenwood parades in December when I was younger. So to give back to the community now makes me thankful. Throughout all my years with Rotary, I have participated in many service projects, community-based volunteering, lending a hand to various businesses, and met many amazing people. And it has taught me leadership skills, how to work well with others, and to have a voice. Next year, I will be attending the University of Maine at Augusta for the nursing program. I'm thankful for everyone who has helped me to get to this point, and to Pauline and Terry for everything they've done for Interact over the years.
And Daphne?
Rotary has been a huge part of my life since moving to Maine in 3rd grade. It has given me an organization through which I've participated in many different service projects, made friends, and learned the importance of the motto of service above self, which I carried through other community service activities through my youth group. Rotary has helped me to learn how to advocate for myself and others, which is something I will carry far into the future as I work towards a degree where I'll be working with communities and the environments they coexist in at Wheaton College in Massachusetts.
And one thing Al and I were saying, one of the best parts of the ACT clubs is when we get together with all of the clubs and Rotary and do a function together. So Al, do you want to talk about that?
I'm sorry, I missed that one part about.
About all the ACT clubs getting together.
Yeah, we had talked about that one of our favorite things to do is we started out as potluck dinners down in industry, and we've graduated to the high school, but it's just so good to get all these families in clubs together and hear them talk about what they've done throughout the year. And we were fortunate a couple of years ago, the district governor came down to our event to hear and see for himself what the youth service is all about. And we've actually had members join our club because of the things we did with the youth in our community. So it's been a real exciting and fun 15 years or whatever, Pauline?
Well, I think 16 this year.
16 now? Yeah, losing track. I was trying to rack my brain the other day of some of the presidents we've had, and it's like, oh, we really should make a list and some of the kids what they've done, but it's been a lot of fun with that. The other thing that we talked about is they've made our club younger and more vibrant, just being included in all our events that we've done. And we're just thrilled to have them part of our club and our community. we talked about Josh. We had the district conference. We had some of the members of our clubs participate there with the forum. And when Josh stood up and said, "I've been a member of Rotary for 6 years," you could actually hear the gasp in the audience as you hear a 12-year-old stand up and said he's been a member of Rotary for 6 years. So, you know, again, very exciting stuff to work with the kids.
And I think my favorite event is our Christmas tree, our Festival of Trees, where all the clubs become involved, whether they do a wreath or a tree. And it was exciting to see that happen again this year. Again, Daphne and Whit and Charlie, you guys made it happen. And to see what the kids do with the money after
Yeah.
they raise it, because they turn around and they give it back to the community. So that the spirit of Rotary gets spread by these students, and it's very rewarding. And I also wanted to thank and recognize Terry, who works with me with Interact, and she helps make things happen. And I am so appreciative of you, Terry, to helping with Interact.
Pauline, I was just thinking, maybe we should have Doug just say a couple words. I know Doug's been on several trips with our students to Guatemala and what it means to him.
Sure, Doug.
Yes, certainly, Al. Thank you. As you had mentioned, when we had some of the interactors on trips, they especially seemed to be, well, both the interactors and the rotaractors were very changed afterward. Just seeing how other people in the other parts of the world live. And of course, it's precisely that is the reason we even do the onion sales, for example, because of trying to help the people who live in the garbage dump community of Guatemala City. But I know I had also said, and I still stand by it, the team that the Rotaract Club put together was one of the best teams I've ever been on. And I can't remember now how many different teams I've been on. I don't know, 7 or 8 teams going to Guatemala to Safe Passage. And they just did a tremendous job. The UMF kids were awesome. And we did have interactors on that group as well. So yeah, thanks, Al. Appreciate that.
Yeah, and thanks for you for all you've done with the children in that program. One of the things also, Pauline, I touched, I remember a few years ago, we were very involved with the Rotary Youth Exchange Program. And many of you remember PJ Mazza, who was part of the program, a student at Mount Blue High School. And the club really came together for her. And it really, her opportunities were pretty limited. And with all the help of the club members and everything we did for fundraising, you know, we sent a child to Austria to learn German for a year. And it was just an amazing thing that the club did, and gave this child a great opportunity to see the world and to learn a new language. And, you know, those are some of the little stories that we've done over the years in these programs, you know, that have really inspired our young students in our community to go on and to make this a better world and for the future of our world.
And Al, didn't you say that PJ got so good in German that there were Americans who didn't realize? Yeah,
she was at a restaurant with the German family talking German, and the table next to him could overhear this conversation, but they were from the West somewhere, and something dropped on the floor, so PJ picked it up and spoke to them in English, you know, for a moment, and they remarked on how perfect her English was, when it was really the conversation they overhearing was how perfect her German was. And she even had the right dialect for the area of Germany she was in. So she was pretty amazed at herself how she mastered the language, even the dialect. That was one of the stories she told us about her trip.
And we've had wonderful youth exchange students come to our club
Yes,
as well.
yeah.
So
Oh, just little things. I remember, you know, we would climb Mount Blue. Tumble down every year, and actually it was a great challenge and inspiration for Pauline to build herself up to get up to the top with her students. Remember Pauline, and it was just amazing how they bring us up. And I think of that day that, you know, Pauline came, you really worked out and you got yourself all inspired to get to the top of that mountain with our students. And, you know, those are the things you remember all of a sudden off the top of your head, the little moments where they've inspired us to be better people too.
Well, as volunteer coordinator, I knew that if you ask somebody to do something early enough, people usually say yes. And a student asked me the year before if I would climb tumble down.
Yeah.
And I said yes. So once I made the commitment, I decided that I had to get myself up there, which was no easy feat, mind you. And I think Joyce even met us there that day.
You did great. You did great.
So it was fun, I think.
Yeah.
So, but we've had some wonderful times, and I really appreciate the support that the club has given us.
Yeah.
So I want to thank everybody here,
Yeah.
and let them know how much we appreciate them.
Do we have a minute? I'd love to hear from Kirsten if we could. Do we have a minute, Charlie?
Sure, we have plenty of time, Al.
I know Kirsten has she's done a lot of work with it, you know, over the years. And I remember once she was telling me that our club Rotaract is actually inspired members of their community to be part of the college, and you thought it was a really good benefit for the college. I think you told me, Kirsten.
Yeah, I think certainly the students that have been involved in Rotaract here have made an impact really with faculty and staff here, and making them more aware of the group. There are a few different service organizations here on campus, and some have a little bit longer history, but Rotaract has caught up in many ways in terms of being recognized. And I remember the team that went to Guatemala, which was UMF students and Interact students, and it really did change their lives as well. And to this day, you know, Blair Bailey is out in Colorado, and she still follows Rotaract and the Rotary now and the International Conference. And so it really, and Bryce Neal has gone on to do great things. He's now in Bozeman, Montana, pursuing postgraduate work. So it really has had an impact in their lives as well. And of course, Festival of Trees, getting more student organizations from UMF involved in that, and understanding what the Festival of Trees is really all about and giving back. So it has been a great experience for the university to be able to be a part of Rotary in that way.
Thank you, Kirsten. And Pauline, I think we'd be remiss if we didn't mention the sponsors of our club sponsoring children in Guatemala.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interact has sponsored Oscar since he was 3 years old, and I think he's 14 or 15 right now.
Right.
Rotaract sponsors a child, doesn't it, Kirsten?
Yes, we do. Yep.
In our club, Doug can tell us how many years we've sponsored a child with our own club.
Yeah, I think that's been since 2008, I would say.
Yeah.
But speaking of other Rotaractors, we certainly should not forget Kelsey Trefethen.
Yeah.
Now a Rotarian in the Augusta Club.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, I can't. What was Sean's last name? The one with us. Can't think of his last name. He was president for a year or two there, the Rotaract Club. But Sean actually was so inspired by his trip with the year he went that he actually took a teacher's position in Guatemala after he graduated from UMF. So it made quite an impact on his life, where he actually went back to Guatemala to be part of their community.
And I just want to mention that Logan, one of our club presidents is going on a trip this year. Initially, he wanted to go to Thailand, but that got canceled. So he'll be doing a mission trip in Hawaii in just a few weeks. So these kids have been inspired and changed, and they've inspired and changed us.
Any questions for Al or Pauline? Or any of the kids?
I just have a quick question. I know that we have a lot of Interact clubs. Can you share like what a typical Rotary club, what their youth groups look like, and how I kind of like to emphasize how unique we are here in Farmington?
Actually, as far as like Interact, we're very similar to countries all around the clubs are all around the world, and there's several clubs in right here in Maine that are very active. And a couple of years ago, Pauline and I were actually doing inviting the clubs from all over Maine to join us, and it was really very good to see these students get together for like a day or two that hadn't known each other, but through Rotary they had that connection. Pauline, you may want to talk about it too, but you know, it's pretty exciting when we got together like that, or at the district level, like we have done a couple times. But I guess the one unique thing, Terry, is that we believe we're one of the few or only clubs that, you know, can say 5 to 95. You know, we've got every age group. We had to become creative. There's no names out there. We would call a Next Act and Impact, and we didn't even know what to call the club's names. Remember, Pauline? It was just like, it's like, because we were inventing something that no one else had done. So, and Doug could probably add to that too with his involvement at the upper levels.
I just want to say, one of the goals of each club is to do at least one international activity and one local activity. And I think our clubs exceed that many, many times over each year.
True.
The cool thing about getting together with other clubs was to see the kids share their ideas. And they brought back ideas to our Interact club. That year, they had heard about another club doing a week of kindness. So they brought that idea back to Mount Blue and did a week of kindness at Mount Blue. So it's fun to see kids share ideas as well and really bring back some exciting things to do.
Any other questions?
Charlie, if I could just add one thing. I know Madison wasn't able to join us today. Madison Vigent, who's the president currently for Rotaract, but she's been instrumental in getting Rotaract started at both Husson College and now this year Bates. So, so they look to UMF as a model for getting the organization connected on different campuses right here in Maine.
That's wonderful. Okay, any other questions? Well, on behalf of Rotary and the Farmington Rotary Club, thank you, Al and Pauline, and the students of the Interact